We finally found out how much Google pays Apple to be the default search engine on Safari.
I have a hot take about this.
Oh, do you wanna disclose?
First, tell us how much you're spending.
Okay, so it's always been known that Google pays Apple a lot of money to be the default search engine on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a way that a lot of browsers make money now, is sort of like a ransom thing. They're like, hey, we could make Bing the default search engine. And Google goes, no! You know, all these things. So during this antitrust trial, it was Google versus Epic, because we already did Apple versus Epic, and now we're doing Google versus Epic, I guess. It came out that they pay Apple 36% of search ad revenue to use Safari, or to be the default search engine on Safari, which is a lot.
So what you're saying is Google makes all of their search engine revenue, and then they take 36% of what they make and give it to Apple.
Specifically on Safari.
Of what they make on Safari,
Yeah.
and give it to Apple to remain the default search engine for when you just type a phrase into the search box.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's also kind of a situation where it's like, it's only a lot because they are the default, and so that 36% is a lot of money because they are the default. If they weren't the default, that 36% would not really be that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready for my hot take?
I'm ready.
It's all wasted money. Do not pay them a dime. There's no way Google switches it to, or Apple switches it to Bing.
Yeah.
To Bing? Apple would switch to Bing?
I wonder about this a lot.
No way.
I've seen that hot take on the internet quite a bit. I don't know if that many regular users would be able to tell the difference or be pissed off that they're using Bing.
I think if one day you typed a phrase into the search box in Safari and it pulled up a Bing search result, the entire internet would lose its collective minds.
Even regular people?
Yeah.
Not just nerds?
I think it would spill over pretty fast.
That is definitely a hot take, because I disagree hard.
Really? Yeah. I think that the same way everyone knows that Siri kind of sucks, the same way everyone knows Bing kind of sucks.
But do regular people know that Siri kind of sucks?
I think so.
The thing is with search, the more people they get making searches, the better the product gets. So if you make Bing the search engine for like a month, it'll eventually be fine.
That's you would think that's true, but it didn't work with Siri.
It's not 100% that way, though. It's not like a learning model where it just gets way better, automatically.
Would they okay, let's say theoretically, hypothetically, Google stops paying today. Do you think there's a path where Apple goes, okay, we need to, because also if you switch it to Bing, that assumes Microsoft is now paying.
Yeah.
What if Microsoft?
Yeah, because Apple needs to go to somebody and be like,
give
who
us 36%.
wants to pay us and how much do you want to pay?
Yeah. So Microsoft currently not paying. Google decides we're not going to pay anymore. Who are they going to switch it to? If they don't have a default willing to pay, are they going to switch it to Bing and just give it to them for free?
That would be if nobody was willing to pay, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's this whole antitrust conversation going on with Google. Google's being sued by the federal government about whether or not they should even legally be allowed to pay off people like Apple to be the default. I honestly, I feel like if you couldn't do that, Apple would just implement a thing when you set up Safari for the first time that would say, what search engine do you want to use? And I agree with you that probably 98% of people would pick Google search, because why would you just pick?
Why wouldn't Apple make their own?
I mean, they could. They probably have it ready. Just like they have iMessage on Android ready.
Speculated for a while.
They almost definitely do. But if they make 23% or 36% of all Google revenue, it's probably in their best interest to just use that as like a...
So this is interesting
money
because,
generator, right?
Yeah, on one hand, you like the money. You're Apple. You should make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they have been known to take big leaps to forego some of that default. Like when switching from Intel to Apple Silicon, they kind of took that leap. Not that Intel was paying them or whatever, but they took that leap to go from the easy default to making their own thing, and that made it better over time. And they have not made the leap to serving their own search engine ever.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a pretty good reason for that, which is it's probably harder than they think, and you need a lot of volume, a lot of business, a lot of things to work for a search engine to be good.
One thing, too, is that Apple is one of the only companies that does not make nearly as much money selling your data. Like Apple makes most of its revenue on hardware and services, but almost every single other tech company sells data to make most of its money. And so a search engine for them is not that useful, right? Because a search engine is mostly tracking your habits. It's mostly tracking what websites you're going to. And if Apple is keeping that super private on device because that's their whole thing, that's their whole shtick, then like what's the value of that to them? If they could just like point a gun at your head and say, give us 36% of all revenue, or we literally like pull the bottom out from under you, I feel like that's a much better revenue generator from them in the long term.
Yeah. I think their only argument would be we can just make it a better product. Like we can deliver the search engine that the world wants, which doesn't sell all of your information, but learns from all of your searches and can give you better features that work for you.
That's true.
Siri
Which would
search.
be cool.
They would have to really assume that that would be a selling point for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just have to look at how many people use Alta Vista today and assume that they can get that amount of people to switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if this trial goes through or if the federal government wins this case. I don't think they will. Following the case, they've made a lot of bad cases. But if they did, it would be really interesting to see what would happen. I personally don't think that Apple would make their own search engine because it's just a huge overhead for like not a lot of benefit, especially when Google is so far ahead of everybody else that the quality of Google search kind of directly affects the way that people see Safari, right? Because if the number one thing you probably do on your browser is search something, then Google is kind of like lifting up all the other browsers in a way.
Dang.
Yeah.
Have you guys used Yahoo search in the past few years?
No.
It is literally Microsoft Bing backend with a Google clone skin on top.
I didn't know
I
it
think
still existed.
the only thing I've used Yahoo search for is finance.
It's funny, like if you go into Yahoo and you like search a sports team, it'll present it in like the exact same format.
Wow, it literally
with, like,
looks exactly like
I know
Google.
they even have the 3x3 grid for all their different
They
Yahoo
literally
apps.
changed the font. Isn't that just the Google search bar?
So look, maybe if Yahoo was willing
my
to do a
God.
little bit of a discount, Apple could kind of do
This
a
is
seamless
literally
little.
Wow.
wow.
Look, there's a little browser for all of your yaps.
Oh my god.
Is that what they call it?
That's what I just made that up.
Yeah, what is that? All sites? This is literally the way that Gmail
That's
looks.
Oh, sorry.
Rip.
Yeah, your yites.
That's literally the way that Google search. Wow, that's insane.
I didn't even know that.
That's wild. Damn. Okay.
Good for Yahoo.
Good for Yahoo.
them.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's always been like a black box. So it's interesting to know that information now. There was a funny little blurb that was like when the Google engineer like let out that information, his manager who was sitting like behind him visibly cringed because apparently he was not supposed to say that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but he
That's
kind of got
hilarious.
forced to. So
And now we all know. $26.3 billion. Now the Waveform pod knows. We all know. You've been spending a lot of money.
yeah.
Cool. Hey, can I just flip it to portrait real quick? Oh yeah, make sure you subscribe.
And hit like. Good thing we have this suitcase fireplace. It's getting cold out there.